Hello and welcome. My name is Luminara Serdar, founder of Autism Transformed, where we help kids shift their autism behaviors by getting at what's going on inside the body, the root causes. So that would be at the toxins in their body, at gut issues, and so helping kids shift behaviors in that way. And today I am talking about healthy school lunches. So one of the reasons, or one of the ways that I help kids to shift behaviors is through nutrition and detoxification. So the biggest key for shifting those behaviors, let's say for starting a calm school day, for having easier transitions in the day, for having good sleep at night, if you want more eye contact and more speech and more clear words from your child, the foundation for that is what you put into their bodies. So we're going to talk about that. So most of our grandparents, maybe great-grandparents, knew what nutritious food was and what healthy food was. The food companies inundate us with marketing and ads and tell us what's healthy and lie all the time because the stuff that we're eating, the processed foods, it's not healthy for our bodies, especially a body that already has a toxin load in it that is inhibiting certain biological processes. So why is the brain not working well? Why do our kids have apraxia and dyslexia and all the autism symptoms, the lack of eye contact, maybe shifting eye gazes, stimming and rocking? It's because there's inflammation in the brain. And one of the ways we need to pull that out is in a gentle detoxification. But we also, before we do that, we need to make sure we're putting the right nutrients in and that they're getting nutrients so they can build those brain cells. So let's talk about what to put in school lunches. I will be posting this live as a reel and I'll have resources in that for you. So don't worry if I'm going too fast and you're not getting the resources. So the first thing is what our bodies naturally need: fruits, vegetables, things that come from trees, things that come from the ground, and grass-fed pastured animals and animal products for those of you who eat meat. And I know some people are vegetarian, that's fine, but if you think back to our caveman days, people went on a hunt and killed a big animal and brought it back to the tribe, and people had feasted on meat and animal organs and blood. So these were all nutritious and fed our bodies. And then what we get from the ground, and let's say carrots or potatoes or apples from the tree, these are all nutrients that come from the earth. And yes, there's less nutrients in the soil these days, but we do what we can to eat as fresh and natural as possible. So if you're buying something in a box from a store, it's not going to be as healthy for your child. So the first thing I want to cover is finger foods. And little kids especially, hey, even I like eating with my fingers sometimes. And in some cultures, that's what you do. You eat with your fingers. So let's start with some finger foods. Little cherry tomatoes are great. Now, my son never loved tomatoes ever as a kid. He didn't like potatoes and eggplant. He didn't like any of the nightshades. So if your child doesn't like those, you don't put them in. But cherry tomatoes, whole or cut up fruit, melon is still in season, and grapes are a great finger food. Apples, pears, bananas, I always used to cut chunks of that for my son, and you can have a dipping sauce, like a peanut butter dipping sauce for the apple. I just slather mine on, but we're talking about practical school lunches here. Blueberries, raspberries, even frozen berries, you can put them in a container and have your child take them to lunch, and then by the time they're ready to eat lunch, those have thawed out. Grapefruit slices, orange slices, if that's what your child will eat, pineapple chunks or slices, peaches, kiwis, mangoes, so all of these yummy fruits that thankfully we can still get, and some are still in season. You can mix fruit with like chia seeds or hemp seeds. And here's a tip. The chia seeds have high omega fatty 3 acids. Omega 3 fatty acids, and they'll help with pooping. So my child was a hold it in at school all day kid, and the first thing he would do when he got home from school is run to the bathroom and poop. So why not, let's bring some stimulants in there for the bowels, because I know many people I talk to, their kids are constipated. So that's a good thing to help. And hemp seeds have really good fatty acids in them, or coconut flakes. You could put that in the fruit as well. I used to do frozen peas and carrots for my son. Again, they thaw by the time it's lunchtime, and so they're nice little finger foods. And then there's dipping vegetables like carrots and celery and jicama. You guys, if you haven't tried jicama yet, it's spelled Jicama. And this is a vegetable that is brown on the outside. It's a root vegetable. And then on the inside, it's white and fleshy and crunchy. And it has very little taste. So for our kids who love crunchy and have picky taste, it's a nice one. And you can dip that in some kind of ranch or ranch substitute, hummus, tahini, baba ganoush, if your child likes those kinds of things. So there's red pepper, cucumber, broccoli, snap peas, carrots, celery, jicama. Those are all nice dipping foods. All right. And let's see, what else have I got on my list for finger foods? Of course, proteins are really important. All those fruits are going to give our kids sugar and fiber, and the vegetables will give fiber. But we also want to give fruits and fat, because this helps the brain function for all the rest of the day. So whether you're giving this at snack time at school or in the lunch, or even for breakfast, start your kids off with fat and protein. It's going to help their morning go a lot smoother, and it helps their blood sugar last much longer than if you give a carbohydrate-rich breakfast like oatmeal or pancakes or cereal. I don't think we should have any of those for breakfast. I think we should always have fruit and high protein for breakfast. So that would be eggs, that would be nuts, that would be coconut, if you have coconut flakes, nuts or seeds. Salmon, I don't know if you guys do that, some kind of meat, bacon, turkey bacon. All right, finger foods that have protein are all kinds of nuts, and I know sometimes schools have restrictions on these because of allergies, but if you can do that, a mix of nuts is nice. You'll know what your child likes. Again, my son never liked nuts or seeds, so what I had to do if I wanted him to eat nuts and seeds is I had to mix them up in a food processor, usually with dates and some kind of seeds, so sunflower, almonds, dates, and maybe some chia or hemp seeds, some flavor like cinnamon or vanilla or orange. And so I would mash that all up in a food processor and roll it into little balls. I call these energy balls. And then you can roll them in coconut, which my son didn't like also. So I would roll them mostly in cacao, raw cacao or cocoa, or you can roll them in cinnamon, you can roll them in seeds, maybe sesame seeds. So that's a way that I could get my son to eat nuts that way, or nut butter. I mean, he wasn't allergic. It was a good food for him, but he wouldn't eat the nut itself, the crunchiness of it. So anyway, walnuts, almonds, cashews, hazelnuts, pistachios. Some kids like to open the pistachios. Some kids just want them, don't want to go through the effort. Cheese sticks, if your child is doing dairy, is a great protein snack. I used to put beans in my son's lunch, so red kidney beans or garbanzo beans, and you can put those separate or as part of a salad. Trail mix, and I would use sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, raisins, cranberries, little chocolate chips, and then I already described the Fat Bomb energy balls because they're high in fat. That's why they're fat bombs. And also another nice finger food is like if you get like nitrate and nitrate free and whatever, the cleanest possible lunch meat. I would do turkey roll-ups or ham roll-ups. You can roll up a cheese, or you can roll the meat in a corn tortilla or even a lettuce wrap. I like a lettuce wrap with some turkey, and you could shred some carrots if your child's going to go for all these flavors. And I like a little mayo and mustard on mine if your child's doing cheese. And I used to slice the cucumbers on the long way and like with a vegetable peeler and put those in. So, and you can do tomato slices. It gets a little messy, but if they have a napkin or eat it over something. I like mini hamburgers. I used to make little mini chicken meatballs, and to do that I would just get ground chicken or ground beef and put a little bit of some tomato product like tomato sauce and a little bit of egg to hold it together, some spices, maybe some tarragon, and cook those up. You can cook them in the oven, you can fry them up, and then I would just have those easy to get in the fridge, and I would stick one of those in my son's lunchbox. And of course, hard-boiled eggs are a nice addition if you wanted to make the fancier deviled eggs. Love those, but they are some work. I also like the gluten-free chicken nuggets and or chicken leg. So that can be cooked the night before for dinner. And when I cook stuff like that, I cook a massive amount and put it in my freezer. I mean, if you have a big family, you're going to eat it all up at once. But, if you make a large amount and you have some leftovers in the fridge for even after school snacking, for school lunches, and then you have some for another day, the emergency, I don't know what I'm making for dinner night, and you pull out your chicken nuggets or your chicken legs or whatever that is that you've made in massive amounts. Quesadillas are really yummy with a tortilla, and you can put avocado, black beans, cheese or alternate cheese, something made with non-dairy cheese, and then almond flour tortillas. Siete has some great ones. I know they're expensive. And then I just like using organic corn tortillas, but if your child's not doing corn, there's tortillas made with other types of compounds like I think cauliflower, almond, tapioca. I love organic beef jerky. I used to make it myself. If you get a good cut of meat, I had a food dehydrator. I've had it for 30 plus years. And so I really liked making stuff like that. But Chomps is a one you can buy in the store that I think is pretty clean. And I've seen it at Costco. I like falafels, so if you like to cook, you can get, or I think Trader Joe's has the frozen falafels, not organic, but, and they have falafel mix, so it's easier, so you just make those up. That's a great finger food and it's made with chickpeas, so you're getting lots of protein. Egg muffins, I will give you a link at the end of this to where I have a presentation I put together. I have a bunch of slides with pictures and all this stuff in pictures, and I have a recipe for egg muffins that you can make for breakfast, but you can also put in the lunch. And I also have my recipe for the Fat Bomb energy balls. So I'll give you that in the comments or in the caption section of the reel. I used to love salami and prosciutto, and I was never a ham person, but that's another thing that you can roll around with turkey, to combine two meats, and that's a nice finger food as well. Other foods, I like mashed cauliflower. I loved giving my son hot foods for lunch. Just get them in a little thermos. I would do beans and rice and soups and stuff like that. But mashed cauliflower is just like kind of mashed potatoes. It doesn't have much of a flavor, and you can add butter and salt if you're doing butter or ghee or some flavoring to help it be more creamy. I like ants on a log, so that's, if you don't know, that's the celery with peanut butter or some nut butter and then raisins on it. That's really fun. And if you can make fun of your food, like I don't know if you guys know, there was a book called Play With Your Food, and it was just all different ways to present food. So presenting food can get your child to eat more, but look for things like that, or just look for pictures on the internet of how to present fun foods. Make a face on the plate for your child. Now, you can't do that necessarily in lunch boxes, but you can do that at home. So I'm also giving tips on how to get your child to eat more variety, because I know that's an issue for some of our kids. I like alternative crackers. I like Mary's Gone crackers. There's a brand called Pain de Fleur, which are pretty not tasty. You have to put something on it, but it's a good base if you want to put something on it. Plantain chips are really great. Olives, I see Trader Joe's has little packs of olives now, if your child likes that kind of flavor. Seaweed, little packs of seaweed are really great to put in lunch. and to munch on. And seaweed is high in iodine and high in minerals, so that can really help give energy for your child, because all of our cells need iodine. If your child is a coleslaw kid, I really like coleslaw, because then you're giving them probiotics for lunch, and you can just put that in a tiny little container, and I'll take just like a tablespoon of coleslaw before I eat, and that helps the whole body. And you can do this at home. You can give your child coleslaw or coleslaw juice or some apple cider vinegar, and both of those can help with digestion, help with yeast control. So if your child has uncontrollable laughter at different times, or laughter for no reason, that's typically a sign that they have a lot of yeast in their body, because they produce alcohol, the yeast, and it goes to the brain and it makes your child feel drunk. That's the laughter. So you want to get that looked at for sure, and do some kind of anti-candida protocol. And usually that's related to a heavy metal, so you want to check your child's heavy metals. This is if they're laughing for apparently no reason. But the coleslaw, the sauerkraut, sorry, I was saying coleslaw and I meant sauerkraut. The sauerkraut, the apple cider vinegar will help curb that. So that's maybe an at-home thing. So like I said, I used to give my son stuff in a thermos. He's going to be 26 next month, so I'm not making his lunch. He's actually living in Europe right now. But he learned a lot from me, and he makes his own good food. So bone broth is a great thing to put in a thermos. It's really healing for the gut, because it has a lot of building blocks, amino acids, for the protein that's going to help rebuild the gut lining. So bone broth, only get organic and grass-fed, and I think there are many brands out there that are good that you can get. You can put some rice noodles in it. You'd have to cook those at home. So if your child likes the noodly thing in the broth, you could put noodles that are made with, like a pasta that's made with quinoa or rice or lentils. Trader Joe's has a lot of that stuff, and it's pretty highly available. If your child is a pasta kid, I like butternut squash soup, tomato soup, chicken soup, beef and vegetable soup, lentil soup, cauliflower soup, broccoli soup. So when the weather turns and it's a little bit, cooler out, then that's the time to start giving these hot things in the lunchbox. Okay, so what can we give that's a high fat? I like chia pudding, and I have a recipe for this on my website. It's a blog article in and of itself. So you can make pudding with chia and some coconut milk, and it's really yummy. And again, it's got more of a laxative type of effect, and helps your child poop. So if you're dealing with constipation, if your child isn't pooping every day, they should be, and chia seeds are a great thing to use. You can give avocado. I used to mash avocado and make avocado toast for my son before it was really popular at all the restaurants nowadays. So mashed avocado with maybe a little lime or lemon, a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of spices. I like a Middle Eastern spice called za'atar, Z-A-A-T-A-R. It's got some thyme and sesame seeds and salt. So you could just put salt and pepper, and that's a good dipping thing. Smoked salmon, sardines, cooked salmon, so an after dinner kind of, dinner leftovers are really great. Chicken salad, tuna salad, egg salad, these are all nice proteins for giving your child energy the rest of the day. I already talked about avocado hummus, and then black beans, quinoa and beans, rice and beans. My son had a lot of rice and beans as a kid, or quinoa and beans. And what can you do for sweets? Kids at school have, maybe candy bars or cookies, Oreos, and all this stuff. So for a treat for your child, if you want to avoid all that processed junk and all that extra sugar, Zand, Z-A-N-D, is a brand of, it has cough drops. They're zinc drops. Actually, they're not cough drops, but they're just like a piece of candy. They're a piece of hard candy. So you can give your child a zinc drop, and guess what? You're giving them extra nutrients. You can give them a gummy vitamin or a gummy fish oil. So that could be like a little treat. or a gummy probiotic. So that could be like the end of the dessert. I also like, there's some mints made with honey, like peppermint patties, but made with honey and nicer ingredients that I might, use. Also, you could make your own pumpkin bread, banana bread, zucchini muffins, especially this time of year with the zucchini. You could give a dark chocolate square, goji berries, raisins, dates, these little easy ones to eat that are, you just put in your mouth with your fingers. So those are really nice. And those are sweets. Those can be dessert. And then in containers, and I recommend stainless steel containers, and I think I'll put a link to those in this reel. Just get them off Amazon, or you can just search bento box or, stainless steel lunch container, something like that. So I already mentioned pasta, but you could put with butter or tomato sauce or olive oil. You can throw in some meat, some chicken or some ground beef, maybe left over from the night before. Those little chicken meatballs or beef meatballs that I talked about, you can, break those up and put them in there. There's quinoa salad. You can put cranberries, lettuce, bacon. So you can really have a base of rice or quinoa and put a lot of different things in, the flavors that your child likes. Again, if your child likes mixed flavors, my son loved mixed flavors and loved new flavors. But you're going to temper it to what your child likes and will eat. And maybe have them eat the zinc cough drop first, because the zinc helps to change our taste buds, so that if your child likes really bland food, and it's possible they can't taste food very well, and so they're going to go with the blandest thing, and you might need to increase the amount of zinc you have in their diet, and those zinc drops are just one way to do it. I'm not a huge big fan of popcorn, but popcorn is another finger food with olive oil or avocado oil and maybe some smoked paprika or some nutritional yeast, which is loaded with B vitamins. If your child is more of a yeasty kid, maybe you don't want to give the nutritional yeast, but that's a nice little snack food, and kids usually have those in their lunch, I've seen. I like protein bars. The macro bars are kind of nice. I don't like the power bars or Z bars. I used to get those for my son, and then I realized, oh God, they have so much sugar in them. And so I look always for an organic protein in a bar. I don't like standard, from anything from all the big food companies. I would avoid, like General Mills, or I don't even know who they are anymore. But I like the macro bars, and there's a new one called Thunderbird bars, and it's just got, I think, protein and fruit, and that's kind of it. All right, I have what not to put in the lunchbox, like Oreos, Doritos, certain crackers like the Triscuit or chicken and a biscuit. I remember having those as a kid. We also had that spray cheese as a kid, so I would avoid that kind of stuff, the prepackaged puddings and jellos, and those are usually filled with lots of chemicals and probably not great for having an attentive child sitting in a chair after school or during the rest of school doing work. I don't like anything from Kellogg's, or I have pictures here in front of me, and they're in my presentation, which I'll lead you to, so you can see visuals on all of this. But I was in Walmart just looking at all the different things that we could buy, and there were Captain Crunch treats that were bars made with Captain Crunch cereal or Trix cereal or Nutri-Grain bars or Z bars. These are loaded with sugars, and they're going to make your child pretty hyper after lunch. And what we want to do is have fuel for the brain, not necessarily for the body. That might be better for after school when your child can run around afterwards. I talk about safe containers, and I'll give you links to that on Amazon, but I think the stainless steel ones are going to be best. Not so much plastic, especially if you have greasy stuff. The plastic, you just don't want your child eating that stuff, especially if you put something hot in there. The stainless steel is much better. So I go through a bunch of containers, and something that can help is to make a weekly lunch schedule to go along with your weekly dinner menus. So let's say tonight you're having, I don't know, let's just say spaghetti, let's just say gluten-free pasta with some kind of meat in it, that can be lunch the next day or 2 days later. If you don't eat it all before. I like to eat that stuff for breakfast too. That's a great breakfast. If you have, let's say, barbecue chicken for dinner with some kind of vegetable and potato, that's great for breakfast the next day, as long as your child's eating the protein and the good fat and throw in maybe some avocado. So use leftovers from the night before. If anything's new that you're putting in your child's lunchbox, serve it at home first, because you don't want them trading it away for something else, something yucky and full of chemicals. And you might need to serve something 50 times before they take a bite, and that's okay. One of my tips is make lunch the night before, except if you have to heat up leftovers and put them in a thermos so that it's ready to go. It makes your morning a lot easier. Take a picture of your lunches. So the ones you make that your child loves, or maybe you don't know till the end of the day if they love it, but take a picture of that so you can repeat that maybe once a week, every other week, something like that. Or if their lunchbox is still kind of full when they're coming home, have them eat it in the car. If you give them healthy foods, they will eat it when they're hungry. Mostly, for the most part. That's a broad generalization. Make homemade goodies on the weekend and store them in the refrigerator or the freezer, and have your kids help you. The egg muffin recipe I have, it's a great Sunday morning family, let's make it together thing. And you can make 24 of those, or however many will fit your family, and you can stick them in the freezer for future use. So when kids help you make things and they're more involved, they are more likely to eat something because they've had more exposures, hands-on exposures. They're smelling it as they're making it. Make sure you put a water bottle in your child's lunch, or give them a water bottle to go to school. And I like distilled water, definitely filtered water, because tap water is so bad these days, so full of chemicals. I like distilled water. I have a countertop water distiller, and then I add minerals back into it. You could also give your child electrolytes, a little packet of electrolytes, depending on their age and their capability, or if they can get help, a little cup in their lunchbox, and they pour water and they pour the electrolytes. So that's like a little sweet mix too, and you're giving them lots of minerals. I used to put little notes in my son's lunchbox. So an I love you, or I'm thinking about you, or I'm so proud of you, some little gesture of love for your child, so that they know that they still feel connected to you even during the school day. And really, as you're making the lunch, I'm finding more and more in my life that when you do something with intention, it's that much more charged or beautiful or heartwarming. So when you're making lunch, charge it, infuse it with your love, your mama love, your daddy love, and maybe say a prayer over it. Wish them a great day at school, or there's a little blessing prayer I like to say when I eat, which is, may my body take what it needs, and efficiently, lovingly let go of the rest. So all the junky stuff and whatever I'm eating, or the stuff my body doesn't need, may it eliminate it easily, and may I take in all the nourishment. So you can even infuse your child's lunch with that, or teach them that, before they eat. I'm so grateful I have food, and may it nourish me, to the degree that your child is able to understand that. So like I said, I have a recipe for you, and I'm not going to give it here in the live, but it will be, I will give you a link to where I have all this information I just talked about in visual form, and it will be a recipe for my egg muffins. So this one is a bacon, zucchini, arugula egg muffin. You can mix and match different ingredients. You don't have to make it exactly like that. But it's basically little egg muffins you make in a cupcake tin, and so you have them, for future use. They're so yummy, your kids might eat them all up at once, but you can save them for later. And I give lots of substitution ideas, and then the Fat Bomb energy balls. And so you usually use a nut butter, a nut, hemp seeds, flax seeds, dates, coconut. and you can put flavorings in there. You can even put protein powder in there, some kind of collagen powder, and different spices like cinnamon or vanilla or lime or lemon or orange. Pumpkin pie spice, if it's, getting to be around Halloween and Thanksgiving. You can put chocolate chips and cacao nibs, which are pretty hard, but I like them. I like the crunchiness of them. And then roll them in something, whether it's coconut flakes or cacao or sesame seeds or something like that. So I give you instructions for all of that. And thank you all for joining. I don't think I'm going to take questions today because I've been on for half an hour, and I think everything's pretty self-explanatory. But if you have lunch ideas and you want to come back to this reel and post them, like what's your child's favorite lunch item, and you can help other mamas to have some ideas, then please share. Thank you for listening, and I'm going to take a couple weeks break, so I'll see you in a couple more weeks for my next live every Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific.